Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Before we jump into the video, Supercell super kind to send me this limited edition Baby D. Limited edition Baby Dragon. Well, guys, he's a really cool dude. I have the whole box and everything that will ship to you guys, right? The limited edition Baby Dragon. The bad news is I can't put him in the background because check this out, guys. Check it out. I put my green screen back up and you guys can see, well, you can't see the Baby D. Ironically, it's right above the Baby Dragon. Look at that. The Baby Dragon's over the Baby Dragon. Anyway, I'm going to give this away to you guys. If you're on Twitter at CWA, also post it on Instagram, Clash_with_Ash. Again, Clash_with_Ash on Instagram, at CWA on Twitter, which I'm way more active on. I'll post a giveaway later on today after this video goes live, so stay on the lookout for that. All right, guys, let's get into the good stuff here. Gonna rank every single card. We're gonna go rapid fire because these videos can be like an hour long if I really talk through every single card in the game. So let's just run through it, guys. By the way, I'm judging this a little bit anecdotally on my opinion, what I see in the arena, right? What I see pro players using in CRL every weekend, and of course the win rates. Of course, I think that win rates are the most weighted here in terms of my scores. Also, we have S tier. You can see at the top, we have S tier, A tier, C tier, and F tier. So I eliminated a couple grades in there. F sucks, C average, A really good, and S is reserved for like broken, incredibly good cards. There's only going to be a few of those. So starting out with the Elite Barbarians, I'm going to go ahead and put them in average tier. I think that they're actually pretty well balanced. They're always a threat at the bridge, but they're not broken anymore. Archers, I'm going to say, are also C tier. Very, very good card. Baby Dragon, same thing. C tier, very good card. Well, I guess, you know, Baby D, I'm going to put in A tier. I think it's a very good card, aka A tier, right? Come on, Ash, get your own rankings right, dude. Bandit, we're going to go ahead and put into A tier as well. I think Bandit's very good. I'm actually going to put Barbhut in F tier, even though there are a couple Barbhut decks out there that you guys can go ahead and use. I uploaded one of those videos, or one of those decks, excuse me, recently here on the channel. All right, so Barbarians, the good old Barbarians, only really used in one deck, which is Lava Hound right now. So I'm going to put them in F tier. I'm just not a big fan. That being said, I don't think they need a buff. Same thing with Barbhut. Just because I put a card in F tier does not necessarily mean I think the card deserves a buff. It just means that they're not incredibly good right now. Barbarrel, A tier, solid card. Bats, A tier, very solid card. Battle Healer, I'm going to put in... It's the same thing with Barbarians, right? Some of you might say C tier. I'm going to put her in F because I really think that Battle Healer, Jax had her as top 5 or top 10 worst cards inside the entire game. Might have been top 5. She's only good with the Elixir Golem. That's it. That's it. So if you're only good in one deck and that's it, probably going to be F tier, especially if you suck in every other deck. Battle Ram, I'm going to put in C tier, solid. Dark Goblin, we're going to put in C tier, very solid card. Bomber, I still think even after the nerf is very solid. Of course, it's 2 elixir, not 3. By the way, big shout out to tiermaker.com. I'll link you guys in the description if you want to make your own tier list. Tweet me your tier list. I'll give a random tweet at CWA who sends me a screenshot of their tier list. I'll give them $50. So here we go. Bomb Tower, I'm going to put A tier. Bomb Tower, very, very good right now against the meta. Bowler, C tier, average, maybe slightly below average. Elixir Pump, F tier, man. I hate that the pump can't be in your starting hand. Some of you disagree based on the last time I said that. Some of you agree with me. Either way, it's my opinion. Deal with it, right? So, Inferno Tower, I'm going to give it a C tier. Average defensive card. Mortar, I'm going to give it C tier. It's an average win condition. It really rarely stands alone on its own anymore. It usually needs to be accompanied by something else. Royal Hogs or Miner or whatnot. Tesla, here we go. Our first S tier card. I still think Tesla is broken, man. I still think that Tesla is an incredibly good card. By the way, guys, did you see this post on Reddit? Check out this video on Reddit, man. That was hilarious. Like, I can empathize, not really, but pretty funny post. Expo is A tier because people who dominate at Expo always dominate Expo, always has good win rates. I think that a sneaky S tier card is Cannon Cart, guys. Some of you are going to disagree with me, but I think Cannon Cart's very, very good right now. F tier Cannon, only used in 2.6, very good in 2.6, pretty crappy everywhere else in the game. And again, don't read too much into F tier, guys. I'm not saying that the cards are sucky in every single deck. You know, enough disclaimers. You guys get where I'm coming from, right? I'm going to put A tier Balloon. I think it's a very very solid win condition. It's tough to deal with unless you have a really, really strong air deck. Golem, I'm going to put A tier as well. I think Golem is still the big fella, still the quintessential beatdown card, right? Which I'm going to shock the world and put her in average instead of F tier. I think that Witch is actually formidable right now inside the game. Maybe average, slightly above average support card, often underrated. And sometimes underrated cards present value inherently in the fact that they're underrated, right? Because people underestimate those underrated cards. All right, next up is Clone, F tier. I hate Clone, but not just because I hate it. It has really crappy win rates, man. People with Clone tend to be very, very aggressive with it, and it tends to lead to more losses than wins. Dark Prince, A tier. I love the DP. Don't clip that. We have Night Witch. I think the Night Witch is C tier. She's not dead as people hypothesized after the nerf, but she's not A tier anymore, or even S tier as she was before the recent nerf. Earthquake is A tier. Earthquake is now one of the best spells in the game, does more damage to tower than a fireball. Electro Dragon, it depends on the deck. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I think the E-Dragon is really solid. E-Giant is A tier. I hate going against Electro Giant. I think I hate going against Electro Giant more so than any card except for maybe Elixir Golem. What about you guys? Electro Giant or Elixir Golem? Which card would you rather face if you had $1 million on the line? Let me know in the comments below. E-Spirit, I'm gonna give him a C tier. I think he's an average card, the little fella. Let me push aside a little bit here, make some room. Electro Wizard, A tier. Really solid support card. It's always a solid support card. Elixir Golem, man. Here's the thing. Elixir Golem has awful win rates. It should really be F tier, right? If I'm just based only on win rates. And when I really vary a lot from what the stats dictate, I'll let you guys know, right? So a lot of people would say, okay, C tier because it's really annoying to go against. But I gotta tell you guys, it's just personal experience. And it's because I'm so low skill, right? I always do well when I switch to an Elixir Golem deck, man, you know? And there's a lot of mediocre players like yours truly out there. So I think that either sometimes the Elixir Golem deck, if you can practice patience, or if you're going against a patient Elixir Golem player, I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's similar to the E-Giant. Again, I want to put them right side by side here because both of these cards you can feel hopeless when facing because they can just absolutely decimate you if you don't have the right answers. So I'm going to put him in A tier, man. People are going to hate me for it, but hey, it's my opinion. All right, Executioner, we're going to put C tier. I think the Exy is on boost this season. Probably a lot more Exy going around inside the game. Because of that, his win rates actually go down because when a card's on boost, the win rates always go down because more players who are not used to playing the card have their hands on him. I still think he's probably average to slightly below average right now. Firecracker, however, is A tier. Fireball is A tier. Goblin Hut is average. Furnace is, I would say, A tier still. I think that the Furnace is still an annoying and very good defensive building, one of the best in the game. How about the Fire Spirit, the little fella? I think the Fire Spirit is really, really good right now too. I give it an A tier. Fisherman, I'm gonna give it C tier. I think that Fisherman's a really solid card, average card, very good in Royal Giant decks. You don't really see him too much outside of that. Do you guys play Fisherman in any non-Royal Giant deck? Let me know. Flying Machine you hate going against, at least I do. Another card that's annoying along with the Firecracker, along with the Furnace, along with the Elixir Golem, along with the Electro Giant. However, I think it's average, maybe a slightly above average. Freeze, I'll give it C tier. It's always that kind of X factor that can win you a game, but it's not OP or anything like that in my opinion. Better on ladder than tournament level standard. Royal Ghost, I'm actually going to give him A tier. I think that Royal Ghost is maybe even a little underrated right now. Very, very good card in the game. The Giant Skeleton, man. Some will disagree with me, but I think the Giant Skeleton needs a buff. I'm going to put it in F tier. Giant Skelly, man, just not the way he used to be before his bomb was nerfed, right? Spear Gobs, A tier. Why not, right? Goblin Barrel, I'm going to say it's average right now. Maybe slightly above average. Bait is definitely back. It's right borderline A tier and C tier for me. Goblin Cage, I'm just such a fan. Unabashedly keen, big, bullish on the Goblin Cage. It's just a really, really good card. Goblin Gang, I usually put it in the C tier, but I mean, for one extra elixir over the Spear Goblins, I think the Goblin Gang's still a solid card, guys. I really do. Even with the arrows going around, I'm going to put it in A tier. Arguably could be an average in C tier, but that's my ranking. Goblin Giant, again, only really good along with Sparky decks. A few other kind of niche decks that it works, like Double Prince. Goblins, after the buff, went from F tier to C tier. I think that Goblins are actually kind of viable inside the game right now, which is really cool. Let me move my screen a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more of my rankings thus far.
It's free real estate.
I think the Graveyard's still A tier, man. People who have the discipline to play Graveyard can have a lot of success with Graveyard still. It's still a great win condition. I don't have the discipline, but I'm not going to hate on the card just because I suck, right? Heal Spirit. I think the Heal Spirit is now average. I think the Heal Spirit used to be maybe F tier, but now that Royal Hogs are back, now that Elixir Golem is kind of is like inappropriately ranked in A tier. I think that the Heal Spirit actually is kind of having a comeback right now inside the game. I think the Hog Rider is definitely A tier. I think the Hog is still going strong. You know, 5+ years later, Hog Rider is still there, still a very viable and competent win condition, a very good win condition in the game, especially Hog EQ. Let's put them next to each other, Hog EQ. All right, Hunter. Hunter is back, and I actually think that maybe a little bit underrated. I think that not everybody has adjusted to the Hunter being back. Of course, he didn't get his entire buff back as the nerf, what was like 6 months ago or whatever it was, but he got half of it back, and I still think the card is really good now, so I'm gonna give him A tier. Arguably could be C tier. I'm always a big fan of Ice Golem. I'm gonna put him A tier as well. Ice Wizard, after that nerf, man, he's average to slightly below average. C tier for Ice Wizard. I'd love to see him get another buff again, Ice Wiz. Inferno D. Inferno Dragon is back, man. Inferno Dragon is back in a big way as a tank killer. I think it's an A tier card. Knight is certainly an A tier card. Arguably maybe even S tier. I might only have 2 S tier cards, by the way, right now, guys. Again, I'm reserving it only for a couple cards in the game that I think are just like really, really incredible, but there might be a few others. All right, Lava Hound, A tier. One of the best win conditions in the game still. Lightning, A tier. Really good with Electro Giant specifically, because Electro Giant can kill all the swarm, then you just need a big spell to kill the Inferno Tower or whatever else you're dealing with, the defensive unit, right? The structure. Magic Archer, still A tier, still one of the better cards in the game. Mega Knight, man. Dude, for whatever reason, pro players and really good players, they undervalue the Mega Knight. Us mere mortals, Mega Knight is annoying and very, very good when you're playing him. So I'm gonna give him A tier, and I don't feel at all guilty about it. Mega Minion, same deal, A tier. Miner, A tier. Not S tier anymore, A tier. Minion Horde, F tier. I feel like Minion Horde just doesn't carry the value for 5 Elixir anymore. What about you guys? Agree? Disagree? Let me know. Minions. I'm gonna give Minions A tier. They do hold the value for 3 Elixir. Mini P.E.K.K.A, A tier. I love the Mini P.E.K.K.A, man. Love me some Mini P.E.K.K.A. The tank killer for 4 Elixir, thank you very much. Mirror, F tier. Mirror sucks, man. I mean, you can get some surprise factor with a mirror. It can be a very fun card to play, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily good. One of the lowest win rates inside the entire game. Yeah, it's definitely F tier for me. Mother Witch. I think Mother Witch is A tier. I don't think she's S tier anymore. I'm almost like tempted to just put a card in S tier because I'm looking at those 2 S tier cards right now and I'm like, is Cannon Cart really the second best card in the game? And I don't necessarily think it is, but I have it ranked S tier, so we'll just keep continuing the list. There's a lot of cards left here. Musketeer, A tier. Just steady Musketeer, right? Always gets the job done. Musketeer. P.E.K.K.A, A tier. Great tank killer, right? Poison. Okay, there we go. We have it, guys. I really think that Poison is S tier now inside the game, guys. Poison, now that it slows, it brings me all the way back to 2016 Shanghai tournament. Any OG players out there remember those days that Poison slowed the first time? Man, Poison feels very, very strong now. It's a nasty card. S tier card. Do I think it needs a nerf? No. I think it's a really strong card, though. Same thing that goes with Cannon Cart as well. Prince, A tier. I think that Prince is really, really solid. Princess, A tier. Really solid card. Lumberjack, A tier. You guys can kind of get the theme here. A lot of A tier cards. I feel like this is actually a very healthy balance right now inside the game. What card feels like absolutely annoyingly broken to you guys? For me, Lumberjack feels balanced. Prince feels balanced. Balanced with the Mini P.E.K.K.A as well. Rage, man. For 2 Elixir, Rage is A tier, man. Hate me in the comments, I don't care. But I really do believe that. It's only 2 Elixir, it's a fast cycle card. And I mean, all we have to do is go against a Sparky Rage, go against a Elixir Golem Rage to know that in the right deck, Rage can be not only a viable cycle card, but it can lead to just undefensible combos, right, coming down your lane. Ram Rider, I think, is still A tier. I love using the Ram Rider, especially on the defensive end of the arena. Rascals are A tier as well. Rocket is average right now inside the game. The Royal Giant, after the nerf, personally, I think he's C tier. I think he's average to slightly above average. Some might argue A tier, but personally, I don't know. I don't think he needed that nerf. You know, I really don't. I think that one deck was really strong, but I never get scared when facing Royal Giant. How about you guys? Not to say that I always win, but it's just not one of those cards that I'm like, oh, how am I going to deal with this? No matter what deck I'm playing. Royal Hogs, whoo, I'm going to go S tier, man. I don't think they need a nerf. Don't think they need a nerf, but I mean, you see it everywhere. Just look at the win rates, man. You see Royal Hogs everywhere, especially tournament level standard. They're in all the top decks, or at least most of the top decks. I think that they're one of the best cards in the game. I've shared a lot of Royal Hog decks here on the channel recently. Royal Recruits, I think independently in a vacuum might be C tier, but they're in, you know, 2 of the top 5 decks or 2 of the top 10 decks, the Zappies, Royal Hogs decks. So they can be, you know, even though they're incredibly low skill, uninteresting card in a lot of ways, I think they're still a really solid card. Skeleton Barrel, I'll give it a C tier. No, I'll give it an A tier. I actually think that it's a pretty solid card. Skeleton Dragons, I think they're average. Skarmy, average. Larry, Skeleton, A tier. Guards, dare I say, A tier? I think the guards are A tier, man. Guards deal a lot of damage now. They've actually, you know, replaced barbarians, replaced a lot of the other ground cards in Lava Hound, like back in the day. If it wasn't for Poison and Snowball, all those cards being so tremendously strong right now, I would say that probably guards would be, you know, maybe S tier. Probably not. I don't know. That was a big buff though. 20-something% damage increase. That's huge. Snowball, I'm gonna shock the world. This is the 5th and final card in S tier. Dude, Snowball, they buffed. Nobody saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. I think that Snowball is low-key, guys. Low-key, one of the best cards in the game. Actually, the stats back it up too. Have you tried the new Snowball? This card's really, really good for 2 elixir, man. One of my favorite spells in the game. Ice Spirit, you know, again, tried and true. Ice Spirit, 1 elixir, A tier. Bingo, bango. Log, A tier. 3 Musketeers, average, dude. Maybe, you know what? 3 Muskies, tempted to just go F tier. Oh, there is one more S tier card. My bad, guys. I'm tempted to go F on 3 Muskies. Dude, they need some love, man. I'll go C. They're below average. I'm tempted to go F. Even the best 3 Musketeer players in the world have all switched to the Royal Recruits, Royal Hogs deck. But some players can still have success with 3 Musketeers, so I'll keep them in C. Tombstone, I don't know, man. I'll say C, but they're really close to F as well. Tornado, yikes. Tornado, bada bing, bada boom, bang, bada boom. S tier, baby. S tier. I was worried I wasn't going to have any other cards. I have like 2 more to go. Tornado, no card in the game. No card in the game, spell or not spell, can do what the Tornado does. They changed the game dynamically when they added Tornado to the game. I think oftentimes years later we take that for granted. Tornado is a beast mode card. It synergizes with so many cards. You can pull it to the Electro Giant, kill everything in your tracks. You can activate your King Tower. You can use it with your swarm troops to get extra damage. You can pull things to the line of sight to the Magic Archer. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about the Tornado. It's an incredibly cool, good, dynamic card in the game. All right, next up, Valkyrie. Yeah, that was it, guys. This is the final S tier card of the video. Valkyrie is still incredibly good defensively. She deals so much damage, especially when she gets to a tower. You never want to have a Valkyrie healthy at your tower because Valkyrie has so much health as well. She takes forever to kill, and with all the swarm going on right now, with the Royal Hogs being everywhere in the game right now, she is so good defensively, and she has to be responded to offensively. Wall Breakers, A tier. Very good card. Wizard, C tier. Good mid-ladder, good like upper mid-ladder, but not, it really tapers off the Wizard's viability and just overall strength at tournament level standard and as you go higher and higher on ladder. Sparky, Oh man, Sparky. I hate it's weird. You know what? If I'm gonna rank the Elixir Golem A tier, I gotta give Sparky A tier. Because I'm trying to add, this is one of those cases, by the way. Again, I said I would point it out where I'm going against the stats here. Sparky's kind of really middle of the road. She belongs in the C tier along with Elixir Golem, but it's my own biases that I'm telling you guys about in the video. I hate going against Sparky, and I love playing Sparky. She's just a really good card, man. She's a threat. She always has to be dealt with, and she's really annoying, right? So I'm going to give her A tier. Zappies are A tier as well. Zap is A tier. Zappies are really good right now. Zap is always good inside this game. Royal Delivery, A tier. Royal Delivery just keeps, it was kind of underrated. Now it's beyond underrated. It's like really good. Not as much as Snowball, but I love myself some Royal Delivery. Giant, C tier at best. Jax had Giant in his top 10 worst cards in the game. The stats don't necessarily back that up, but Giant just does not feel the same. Does he? I'd much rather play a Golem deck, much rather play a P.E.K.K.A deck, much rather play a, Elixir Golem, an Electro Giant deck. Heck, honestly, guys, I'd rather play a Goblin Giant deck than a Giant deck, personally. What about you guys? Arrows are still A tier. They're still a really, really good card in the game. And then Goblin Drill, man. Hey, if you ask Asaph, who finished 5th in the world, 2 videos ago, I had his matches. He beat Mohammed Light, spoiler alert, in that video, a top ladder. Just some incredible stuff with the Goblin Drill. I'm gonna say it's average right now, maybe slightly above average. If it's in the right hands, you could say this about any card, right? But if you put this card in the hands of an experienced pro with the card, with an archetype, of course you're going to have success. But after that massive nerf to it, I couldn't put it in an A tier or S tier anymore. I think that it's an average, maybe a balanced card. I think we went too far when we were reacting to the nerf to Goblin Drill. I don't think it's dead, similar to Night Witch. However, it's just not like really, really upper echelon anymore. So there you have it, guys. That is all the cards in the game. Thank you so much for watching. A big shout out to GFUEL, to Bren Chong, and to Stats Royale, where you can get the stats on all these cards every day on their website as well. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Let me know what cards I was just way dead wrong on, and let me know which cards maybe that you'd put inside the S tier. Do you agree with these 7 cards being S tier inside the game? Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.